I absolutely hate lands with all my heart.
Which card game has the best mana system? Which is the most fun, or the best balanced? Mana systems structure the design space for the entire game. It's the first thing I look at when learning a new card game. We'll start with Magic.
Lands are physical cards that are in your deck. You have to decide how many lands you're willing to put in your deck to have a high enough chance to draw them consistently, and that is exactly why I hate them. Over the hundreds of Magic games that I have played, there are times where you will only draw lands, and this is referred to as being mana flooded or just getting fucked. And you will also have games where you don't draw any lands.
I'm gonna lose this game because I can't draw lands.
This is referred to as getting mana screwed or getting fucked. Both of those can lead to games that feel absolutely miserable to play, and it honestly feels like you just wasted your time.
Losing because you didn't draw land feels awful. No one wants to lose because of a dice roll. Bad draws will lose some games. An optimized deck maximizes the odds of drawing the right number of lands, but shuffling makes the outcomes vary.
Because lands are actual cards in your deck, there is a ton of design space for them. It's actually insane how Magic the Gathering is still making new and exciting mechanics after being around for 30 years.
The challenge for game designers is to fix mana screw without sacrificing fun strategy or too much design space. Stick to the end to see my answer to that challenge.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Saw what Magic the Gathering was doing with mana and said, you know what? What if we don't have any? Surely that's not going to cause any problems whatsoever. This game is an absolute clusterfuck. I don't know what's going on. In Magic the Gathering, turn one is often playing a land and passing. Maybe you play a creature because you're an aggro deck. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, turn one is your opponent playing half of their deck, summoning 5 gods, setting up 3 negates, and essentially telling you you're not allowed to play the video game today. You only get 1 normal summon per turn, and that is technically like the mana cap in each individual turn. But Konami looked at that rule and said, okay, but what if we just print cards that can special summon? And then they printed basically every single card with that line of text.
To be honest, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has my least favorite system. Tributing for normal summons can't work in a game with free spells and traps.
Go back to the shadow. You shall not pass!
You spend 3 turns of tempo to summon Blue Eyes, only to have it die instantly to a free trap. The only solution to make viable creatures is to use special summoning. You have to make creatures that cost no tempo, just like spells.
Because how insane Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become, when I tried it out for the very first time about 2 years ago, I thought this was the worst card game of all time. Now that I've given it its fair chance and a lot more hours into it, I have to say there's this weird charm about it. Because you don't have to worry about getting mana screwed or mana flooded, you generally get to play your deck exactly how it's built to be played, which I think is extremely interesting. And that power fantasy of I'm gonna do the most batshit insane thing to you and you have to be able to respond to it is kind of just enjoyable if you're the one doing it.
What is each card game best at? Yu-Gi-Oh! Has the best dramatic swings and makes you feel powerful. You're the Pharaoh, summoning unlimited monsters and casting spells to banish your enemy to the Shadow Realm.
Activate 3 Glassy Ruins.
Pokemon has the best creatures.
No way. No way, that one is mental.
Hearthstone gives you the feeling that anything can happen. There is so much game-to-game variance from random card generation. It's difficult to balance the impact of luck here, but it's really fun to pull a perfect answer or adapt your strategy to what you get. For Sunyata, my design goal is to have the most immersive card abilities. I want abilities that make creatures feel real. Dragons shoot fireballs. Zombies come from dead bodies in your graveyard. Doomsayer from Hearthstone is one of my favorite inspirations. Doomsayer destroys all creatures at the start of your next turn. It's a perfect way to show a man warning of the coming apocalypse.
Hearthstone decided to take the Magic the Gathering mana system, but rather than putting cards into your deck, you get it incrementally every single turn. And this solves the biggest problem I have with Magic the Gathering, is that you don't get mana screwed whatsoever. The only problem is just having playable cards. Probably the most obvious issue with Hearthstone's mana system is just kind of how boring it is. Because it's an equalizer for both you and your opponent, there's only so much ways that you can manipulate mana without either A, being absolutely broken, or without being too ridiculous. But overall, especially a game compared to Magic the Gathering, there is a lot less mechanics to do with mana. The other bigger problem is that there's often just going to be Curvestone, which is basically I play 1 drop on 1, 2 drop on 2, 3 drop on 3, and so on and so forth, because that's kind of just how the game is dictated.
Seems pretty straightforward. I'm gonna keep playing the most expensive card in my hand every fucking turn.
It's hard to overstate just how successful Hearthstone's mana system is. It completely solved mana screw and has become the new standard that most digital CCGs copy. One drawback Rarran didn't mention is the need for class restrictions. Since all cards use the same mana, you can't have unrestricted deck building. Every deck would use the same set of the most powerful cards. You have to split these cards across classes to force different decks. This is a huge cost as a player, since you can't use all the fun combos you imagine. You have to think of each class in isolation.
Maybe this card.
Because Lorcana uses a system called inking. Almost every single card in your deck, depending on how you build it, can be inked, and you could do that once per turn. Which this adds a really interesting development into the land system of, do I want to keep this card in my hand to potentially play it to impact the board, or do I want to ink it in order for me to get an additional mana crystal every single turn? It dramatically reduces the non-games that Magic the Gathering has, and it forces you to make a lot of strategic decisions that no other card game has really done before. Now, it's actually really interesting how by doing this video, I've come to kind of appreciate Magic's mana system a little bit more. I may not fully like the fact that I can get mana flooded or mana screwed, but I do think its mana system is by far the most creative, and it allows for the most design space out of any other card game we've talked about thus far. It's kind of funny that all these card games try to solve the mana flooding issue that Magic can potentially deal with, but by doing so, they're limiting the design space that they have in their own card game. Out of all of these card games, which one do I think has the best mana system? I think Lorcana does. I think it's the nice balance between a ton of complexity and being a very good equalizer for both you and your opponent.
I disagree here. Inking adds strategy, but takes the fun out of the card you ink. It's very similar to the original WoW TCG Hearthstone was based on. Just like Lorcana, you can turn your cards into mana, so you never risk mana screw. The reason Hearthstone scrapped this is that it feels bad to sacrifice your cards for mana. Why force players to lose a card when you can cut out the middleman and just give them mana each turn? Imagine if Hearthstone added a new rule. Every turn, you have to discard a card from your hand. Would that make the game more fun? I don't think it would. The best mana system should have a consistent mana curve, interesting strategy, and unlimited design space, without making you sacrifice the fun from other cards. These were my goals when designing the mana system for Sunyata. You choose 2 support cards every turn from generated options. Each support card gives you 1 mana plus a player ability. You can summon tokens, deal damage, draw cards, or gain special effects. Your abilities change throughout the game as you choose different support cards. You get a consistent mana curve, gaining 2 every turn. You have to plan what abilities you'll need for the early and late game. I have unlimited design space for cool powers and effects, and I don't have to sacrifice any cards from my deck. Their fun abilities synergize together. I chose to progress by 2 mana to solve the Curvestone problem. Because you get 2 mana every turn, the jump from 2 to 3 matters more than the jump from 3 to 4. And 4 to 5 matters more than 5 to 6. As a result, you'll get more value per mana comboing odd cost cards than even ones, balancing out the fact that even cards are easier to play on curve. If you want to try my game, the playtest is open on Steam. Link is in the description below. I'd love to hear what you think is the best mana system.